I think that you really have the potential to reach people with this. You're going to have to work hard to pull this off.
No. You had your time and son, now I have mine. You're going to listen to what I have to say, mister.
All right, and cut.
Look, you've been preparing for this moment for 7 years. You got this.
This is the footage of my life, and it's time for me to show it in front of everyone.
From the moment I could consciously think, I knew that I was different. Something about me wasn't the same as everyone else, and I've spent most of my life trying to figure out what that was. From a young age, I was a very sensitive child. I really cared for others and could tell when something wasn't right. Also at a young age, I was very interested in art. I would draw horribly deformed pictures that my mother would put on our refrigerator to show off to others. For most of my life, I would be marked as the weird kid, the child that, no matter how hard she tried, could not fit into society's norms. I would struggle with this for most of my life, thinking it was an awful thing. But now I know it's made me who I am today. Growing up was awkward for me. I had so many ideas, but I didn't know how to communicate them. Therefore, when I spoke, I never really seemed to have the reasoning to know what was and wasn't okay to say. I was teased a lot for either the way that I dressed or for my awkward outbursts. To help you gain a perspective of just how strange I was, I remember wanting to be either a rapper or a gang member when I grew up. My best friend at the time would dress up with me in baggy shirts and bandanas, and we would have rap battles during lunch. During that time, my awkwardness didn't bother me too much. I was too busy pursuing my love of art. At the age of 7, I began taking dance classes. Meanwhile, every couple of weeks at my school, we would have art classes which I would put all of my time and energy into. I found my niche in both dance and drawing, and I ran with them. My love for both art forms set me apart from my peers and made my teachers take notice. One day, a teacher of mine told me about this art school called Arts and Communication Magnet Academy. She told me I should apply, and I immediately told my parents when I got home. So I did just that. I applied to Arts and Communication Magnet Academy, or a.c.m.a for short. And then I waited, and waited, and waited for my response. The day I received my acceptance letter, I was taking a shower and heard screaming in my house. I thought my parents had left for work, so as you can imagine, I was a little terrified. I stopped my shower, frantically threw on some clothes, and opened the bathroom door. In came my parents with the surprising news that I had been accepted into the school of my childhood dreams. But at the time, I was more cold than excited, so I went back into my shower indifferently, not knowing that my whole life would be defined by that very moment. A year later, I attended a.c.m.a as a 6th grader and also as a student from the first lottery class. My peers and I were looked down upon because we hadn't auditioned for a spot, so we didn't deserve it. Looking back, I think that entire attitude is ridiculous. I know that if I had auditioned to get into a.c.m.a, I most likely would not have gotten in. But since I did, I became the artist and the person I am today. and I thank the lottery system for that. I think it doesn't matter how good you are at your art to begin with, it matters how passionate you are about getting better. Speaking of getting better, I also wasn't as up to par academically as the other students were. My previous school was not the best place to learn from, so I had a lot of catching up to do in both art and learning. Now, ACMA had a lot of things to offer to a child that was new to the arts. In fact, I think I've at least dabbled in every art form offered here. The only problem with that was that I didn't have a specific focus. I originally came for dance and drawing, but once I actually took those classes, I realized they weren't right for me, and it was time for me to find a new focus. For a while, and boy, is this embarrassing, I would walk around the school with a stupid camcorder and film my experiences at ACMA as a 6th grader. This would go on to be called Nano Taffy Tech. I would post these incredibly embarrassing videos to YouTube, and that was the beginning of my love for filmmaking. And no, these videos are no longer available on YouTube, nor will any of you ever see them. It wasn't until 8th grade that I fully discovered my focus. I was filling out my forecasting sheet for 8th grade, and I put Film 1 down with Kevin Bennett because I had heard that the class was fun. I didn't give it more thought than that, but the small whim I took changed my entire future. Hold on, I lost my spot. I became completely drawn into the art of making film. And though I wasn't the best, my passion was enough to fuel me at the time. I'm not sure what it was that specifically drew me into film, but I absolutely fell in love with it. I think if I were to describe today why I love filmmaking, I would say that I love it because you don't only use acting or visuals or sound, but you use them all. And it's the most authentic way for me personally to portray exactly what I'm feeling. I want to take the time to thank Mr. Bennett, not only for helping me find my passion for film, but for also being the one to pull me aside in class during my many breakdowns about life and filmmaking. Thank you for your genuine conversations and insight. You will always have a special place in my heart. Here is the first film I made in 8th grade. It's terrible and a little disturbing.
Dude, it's wrong. What happened?
I fell off my bike. I fell off my
If I were to do this film over again today, this is what it would look like. end of 8th grade, after falling in love with filmmaking, Mr. Bennett had told me and one other person that we were tied for the 8th grade film award. I was so excited because I had never won an a.c.m.a award and haven't won one since. The day that Bennett announced the winner, I was seated in the chair right across from my opponent. Bennett began the speech with, "This young man." And I was crushed. I was thinking, it wasn't me? Why wasn't it me? Am I not good enough? And that was the moment that I truly realized the jealousy here at a.c.m.a. You know why I think we're all so jealous? I think we're jealous because some of the people here are just better. They just are, and it's nothing against us. It's not that we're not good enough. And at the same time, it kind of sucks when you have a teacher going off to praise someone else's work when you just created something amazing yourself. But it doesn't matter if you're the best at your art form, and I'll talk about that a little bit later in my story. If I can turn the page. I'm getting there. All right. Now that I had my focus, I had to deal with other problems. Those problems were caused mostly by the dance classes I was taking outside of school. I stopped taking dance classes at a.c.m.a in 7th grade, but I continued to take classes outside of school, and they were really taking a toll on my self-esteem. I knew who I was at school, but at dance, I couldn't be myself because I wasn't like the other girls. I had my own sense of humor and my own terrible taste in clothing. I was also really sensitive, so when teachers would shout dance corrections at me, I would take them as a personal attack on myself. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I have awful stage fright, so that didn't really help when we would have our many dance competitions. It took me a while to decide if I was going to include this next part in my capstone, but I decided that I didn't want to be silent about this issue. I know many of you have or are struggling with this, and I want to be the one to bring it to light. Because I was so outcasted at my dance studio, I began to harm myself. Even worse, no one noticed when it was so blatantly obvious. To them, I was the kid that was crying out for attention. Around this time, I had realized that I was gay. This didn't exactly help the situation because one day I received news from a friend that the other dancers didn't want to change in the same dressing room as me due to my sexual orientation. Dance no longer became an outlet for me to express myself, but rather turned into an environment for me to learn to hate myself. It took the love of a few people to get me to quit dance and seek help for my self-harming problem. I do not harm myself anymore, and looking back, it was never a good solution to my problem. To this day, though, when I go to any type of social event, I think to myself, just don't be weird. Because I'm so familiar with the awkward silences after I've tried to tell a joke, or the one large group of friends becoming many small groups which never seem to include me. I still feel that hurt, and I still struggle to see myself as a valuable human being. Now, I mentioned briefly that I came out as a lesbian because I don't want my capstone or myself to be entirely about that. Yes, I am very outspoken about gay rights and treating people equally, but it's not the only part of who I am. With that said, I think it's important to share my experience with coming out so you can all better understand my story. I have always grown up in a religious household, which is fine. But the religion I grew up around wasn't necessarily the love your neighbor as yourself kind of religion. It was more of the gays go to hell, don't do this, don't do that kind of religion. This made me very afraid to come out. The day I realized I liked girls, I knew I could never tell my family until I was completely financially secure. I did, however, come out to my friends the night that I came to terms with it myself. I figured it wasn't worth hiding, especially not at an art school as accepting as a.c.m.a. My peers took the news really well. Even the ones I thought would freak out didn't, and that was relieving. Later on in the year, I worked up the courage to come out to my brother. Other than asking if I was sure, he reacted very well. He accepted me, and that eventually gave me the courage to come out to my mom. The day I told my mom, she told me not to tell my dad, and that was that. We never spoke about it, and oftentimes she would slip up and ask me if I had a boyfriend. I'm not sure if she actually forgot I was gay or if she needed time to come to terms with it. I went an entire year without telling my dad. I knew his stance on gay people, and I didn't want to put myself through the pain of being outcasted again. One day, I was watching a few YouTube videos about coming out stories, and I was working up the courage to come out that day. I texted my friend, and he told me that I should sleep on it in case I felt differently in the morning. So I did just that, and when I woke up in the morning, the feeling completely went away. Then, a little bit later in the day, the feeling came back. My dad was in the living room watching TV, so I walked out into our living room, sat on the couch for probably like 5 minutes, freaking out, utter terror. And then I managed to squeeze out the words in the most uncertain voice ever. Dad, you love me no matter what, right? And he said, yeah, why? And the next thing I said was the scariest thing I have and probably will ever have to say in my entire life. I told my dad that I liked girls, and he was adamant that I didn't. So I went to sleep that night crying, but I also went to sleep feeling the biggest relief I've ever felt in my entire life, other than after this capstone. It took about a year of my mom and dad asking me questions before they understood that their daughter was gay. It wasn't a phase. I didn't choose to be this way, and my life would be a lot harder than the average person. I think that was the hardest part for them. They didn't want me to live a harder life, and they still don't. But they support me now more than I could ever ask for. What I want to say to you about this is that if someone doesn't accept you fully for being you, they do not belong in your life, especially for something you cannot help. You're born the way you're born for a reason. So with that said, here's a video about the process of coming out. In your head, you usually think it's going to be a lot worse than it actually is. And that's what this video is about. Before I screen this, I want to take a second to thank my mother, father, brother, and friends for accepting me completely as I am. choices. At this point, I began to take film seriously. One day, when Mr. Bennett came to class, he asked for volunteers to help film a Dance West concert. My hand immediately shot up. And then I was recruited to be a part of the film crew. This was my first major film project for someone else. Little did I know it would not turn out the way I expected. On the first day of this week-long performance, I showed up to the auditorium to discover that absolutely no one else had arrived to help film except for me. I set up the numerous cameras I checked out the day before. My heart was pounding, my stomach filled with butterflies, and a lump began to form in the back of my throat. Realizing that no one was going to help me, I attempted to film the entire event all on my own with the wrong camera equipment. As you can imagine, this project became a complete disaster. Not only did all of the cameras shut off at once, but the shots I did manage to record were absolutely horrific. The dance teachers were so upset that they sent out an email to all the parents essentially apologizing for my failure to do a good job. For some people, this would have been the moment where they threw in the towel, but I refused to give up that easily. The day after this tragic event, I looked over my footage and saw that it was completely unusable. I went up to Mr. Bennett and told him exactly what had happened. A few weeks later, when he asked for volunteers to help film a new project, my hand immediately shot up because I was determined to learn from my mistakes. By learning through my peers and their experience with cameras, this event taught me how to prepare for unexpected situations and how to learn from people more experienced than I. The final product turned out to be successful. A few months after this experience, I had heard that the film students were joining this group outside of school called the Videotech Cadre. So I asked Mr. Bennett if I could join, and he recommended me. The leader of this group is my Capstone mentor. Actually, I skipped ahead a little. I think I'm missing a page. That's fine, we'll wing it. Okay, anyways, I'll just wing it. Screw it. So, once I joined this group outside of school, it's called the Videotech Cadre, or VTC for short. I started making films for the Beaverton School District through my mentor, my Capstone mentor. His name is Scott Hackey, and I think he's here somewhere. Basically, what I had written down was like a huge thank you to Scott, because without him, I wouldn't have gotten the opportunities to create many films for the Beaverton School District. I wouldn't have gotten the opportunity to meet people from other schools that are as passionate about filmmaking as I am. And it's just been such a great life-changing experience. So there you go, I winged it. All right. Then I go on to say that 10th grade was a major year of discovery for me. During this year, I discovered how to stand up for myself and how to love myself. I learned that my awkward personality was one that could make people laugh. I learned that by admitting my mistakes, I could relate to others who were going through the same struggles. The most important thing I learned in 10th grade, that hit me in the face, was not to act like someone I wasn't. Let's say there was a huge pile of donuts sitting on a table. I wasn't going to refrain from stuffing my face just to make people think I was classy. No. I was going to grab as many donuts as my hand would allow me, and if anyone had a problem with that, they were missing out. So I did just that. Okay, not just that. I learned to accept myself fully for being me without worrying about other people's judgments. Also at this time, I had yet again stumbled upon another art form. This was one I would do mostly in my free time. That art was slam poetry. Now that I was beginning to have my own personality and voice, I found that I could use that voice to reach other people. I could talk about issues that people would think about but would never discuss. There was a newly lit spark inside me that couldn't be put out. One of the issues I would talk a lot about in my poems was my struggle with religion. I've had to learn to take the loving aspects out of religion and leave the judgments behind. At this time, I'm going to perform a slam poem about just that. I hear a lot of talk that brings me shock when I hear people so flawed talk about God as if they're Him. Now I know you sinned, so don't you dare speak your hate into the air that I'm breathing. I know who your God is, and I'm glad I don't believe in Him. Because let me tell you a little bit about my God. My God doesn't care if you're Christian, atheist, black, white, gay, straight, male, or female. My God doesn't judge you by your mistakes, but by the content of your character. My God knows your circumstances and doesn't condemn you for how you were raised. He doesn't care about that time you used His name in vain. He only cares if you considered if the person next to you was offended when you did it. My God smiles when you pay for the person behind you, and He laughs when you fall flat on your face, and it's not out of hate. It's because He knows that someday you'll be laughing with Him. My God doesn't allow good people to go to hell because they can only believe in what they see. He knows all that you can be. He's picked me up when my own 2 feet have failed me. My God has bailed me out of the brink of suicide, not because being alive is better, but because I'm not done yet. So you're damn right it makes me upset when people say that God hates me and that I need to change if I want to escape what's below and go up above. My God is one thing and one thing only: unconditional love. So keep your hateful God, because your God falls flat. Your God isn't mine, and thank God for that. Junior year was not a good year for me. Good segue, right? And I'm sure that most of you can relate to that. I had to take way too many tests that I wasn't prepared for. My friendships with others were starting to take a toll on me, and most importantly, I was coming up with absolutely no good film ideas. I only ever seemed to be able to create documentaries like the one I'm about to screen called Winter.
What? Stop it. Just type it in. Oh, Dennis, you need Come on. Why aren't you making this work?
Psych. I'm not going to play Winter because I forgot to put it on. Anyways, go back. It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube. Anyways, continuing on. Where did I leave off? Oh, okay. At some point in the year, I remember Mr. Bennett and many others telling me that maybe I wasn't cut out for filmmaking. This really crushed my spirit, and I was so close to giving up film because I didn't feel like I was good enough. No one had ever really seen my films at a.c.m.a, and I wasn't one of the well-known filmmakers here, and the only people that saw my potential were starting to give up on me. I left junior year in pieces. The summer before my senior year, I was having severe panic attacks and had to go to the emergency room. I feared graduation. I was so worried that after high school, life would become boring and I would have nothing to do and no one to hang out with, especially during the summer. Unlike almost the entire population, I hate summer. I hate summer because I honestly do enjoy the environment that school creates. It gives you a chance to interact with people constantly and helps you to feel not so alone. Anyways, I made it through that summer, just barely, and went on to senior year. This year has been the most defining year of my entire life. And let me tell you why. I stopped doing things for other people, and I started doing them for myself. In previous years, every time I would pitch a film idea to Mr. Bennett, more times than not, he would turn it down. Over the summer, I had come up with an actually great film idea with a storyline and plot and everything, and I was so excited to pitch it to Mr. Bennett. But to my surprise, and I'm not sure why I didn't see this coming, but he did not like my pitch. The idea I had concocted for so long was shot down by my role model, and I was in pieces. Then I had an idea. Actually, it wasn't an idea as much as it was just pure anger and rebellion, but I decided that I was going to make this film regardless of what Mr. Bennett had to say about it.
Oh my
When I was done creating the film, please don't give me an F. When I was done creating the film, I got the reaction I wanted. He absolutely loved the film. This event taught me something really important. It taught me that your teachers are here to help guide you, but it's not up to them to create your art. That's entirely up to you. So here is my first ever scripted film, Sam.
Alright, we'll make it quick.
Heart movie.
Oh, that was working. Okay, can we restart it? That was
I'm Sam.
Sorry, Kanye.
Hello?
Hey man, I just got back from the worst date ever, and I kinda have to tell you about it.
Alright, we'll make it quick. I'm kind of in the middle of something.
Okay, so I'm at the restaurant.
Hi, you're Sam, right? I'm Sam.
Oh. So tell me about yourself.
Well, I'm a professional bug collector. I collect all kinds of bugs, especially spiders. Also, performs birthday parties. Usually our audience is be like 1 to 3 people, but sometimes we get the weird adult who sits in the back and pretending to be there for his kids, but you know he's really into it.
Are you guys ready to order?
Yeah, I'll take.
I'll have spaghetti and a hot chocolate. A hot chocolate.
All right. And then what can I get for you?
I'll take the salad.
A salad.
I like to hang out with my friends. Play video games.
Yeah!
Yeah.
Just rude. I personally don't have any friends other than my boss and my parents. Sometimes they get on my nerves when they ask me to move out of the basement. And sometimes I think they're only friends with me because they have to be. But we go on a lot of adventures. I'll be right back. I have to go to the little girl's room, if you know what I mean.
That's awful.
I am so glad I got out of there.
Well, I gotta go. I'll talk to you later.
Alright, I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Well.
Let me tell you a couple things about that film, because there are many, many disasters that happened when we were filming that. Okay, first and foremost, we got kicked out of the office because they didn't want us in there filming. So we go to this ghetto subway, and everyone around us can see us like filming and acting and stuff, so it's super uncomfortable. And then Jonas was not supposed to be the main character. Actually, it was supposed to be Kyle Heiner, but he couldn't show up. And so he ended up being the main character, and I ended up being the waitress acting in my own film, which never happens. So anyways, that's what happened. All right. This year has been one of the most defining years of my entire life. And let me tell you why. I stopped doing things for other people, and I did them for myself. In previous years, every time I would pitch a film idea to Mr. Bennett, more times than not, wait, I feel like I already just kidding. All right. Backtrack, okay. What I also learned this year, after yet again changing friend groups, is that sometimes if people are bringing you down, it's okay to either take a break from them or find other people to hang out with. That's not to say that when someone is going through a hard time, you should just completely abandon them in their time of need. But when someone makes your life worse instead of better on a regular basis, it's okay to let them go. Not everyone can be a best friend. I began to find people that cherished me just as much as I cherished them, which made this year a whole lot better. Among other things, I learned the importance of being nice and being genuine. The second I was able to allow myself to fully and completely be me, regardless of anyone else's opinions, my life became so much easier. And it's not easy to do that. It starts with talking about how you feel. When you're upset with someone, tell them. When you want to cry, cry. When you're honest with yourself, you can be honest with others. Another very important thing that I've learned is to do things to others that you would want done to you. And yes, I know how cliche that sounds, but it's undeniably true. If you don't want to be sitting alone in the hallways, don't let someone else sit alone. If you see someone else crying, stop and ask what's wrong. This not only makes the other person feel special, but it makes you feel good as well. So these past 7 years, I've learned to be myself, to be a good person, accept who I am, and not let anyone else's opinion stop me from chasing my dreams. These are the most important lessons that I've learned while at a.c.m.a, and now I'm beginning a new chapter of my life. This chapter is called college. I'm still holding on to the dream of being a filmmaker with dear life. I don't care what my specific job is, I just want a career in film. Through my research paper, I've decided to attend University of the Arts in Philadelphia to live out my dream. To live out my dream and learn alongside alongside new artistic peers. I chose Philadelphia because it's a beautiful city located right next to New York and Washington, D.C. So if I want to visit either place, I can just take a bus down. I also chose this school because it has a great all-around art program. That's one thing that I've always liked about a.c.m.a. We're a collaborative school, so if you need someone to film your dance performances, or a dancer to act or dance in your film, or so on and so forth, it's just very convenient. So that's why I chose this school. So this is a documentary about the next chapter of my life. Enjoy.
The city of brotherly love, or Philadelphia, is the largest city in Pennsylvania. Independence Hall in Philadelphia is where the Declaration of Independence was debated. The city was home to the very first president, George Washington, and also President John Adams. The city flourishes in its history, but more than that, this city and its people have a personality of their own. The people are honest, the food is delicious, and there are many things to do in the city of Philadelphia. University of the Arts, established in 1876, is a university located in the heart of downtown Philadelphia. With the acceptance rate of about 67%, this school offers a personal environment that allows you to connect with your teachers and peers. This college is one of the few colleges dedicated specifically to visual and performing arts and design, and allows you to collaborate outside your specific major or focus area. A few of the many art forms offered at UArts are dance, theater, film, illustration, instrumental music, graphic design, photography, and creative writing. University of the Arts has 4 resident halls. Furness Hall is the most historical building on campus. It's also the only resident hall directly on campus. Pine Hall is a block away from the campus. It has the largest laundry space of all the resident halls and has all the comforts of home. Juniper Hall is mostly for upperclassmen. The bedrooms are either 1-bedroom housing for 2 students or 2-bedroom housing for 4 students. Spruce Hall has the largest housing facility and is only a quick walk away from the campus. UArts offers several internship opportunities for students attending the school that are geared towards getting you a career in your field of study. The classes offered here are usually the size of about 20 people or less in one classroom. So for the people that need one-on-one attention, this school offers exactly that. This university offers students counseling services and health services. It also has an inclusive LGBT group and provides resources for the LGBT community. For students who are not yet at the age to begin applying to colleges, UArts also offers summer institutes for high school students. Many of the alumni who graduated from University of the Arts gain a career in the field that they got their degree in. This school produces amazing artists with the drive and skill to take the art they love and turn it into a career. When asked to describe what UArts was like for current students, the most popular response was, "It's like family."
a.c.m.a has prepared me for the huge journey ahead. Without this school, I wouldn't be a filmmaker, I wouldn't know who I am, and I wouldn't have met the incredible people that I know today. Fate is a word that falls short when describing how impossibly perfect it is that I got into this school and have made the choices I've made. I've learned to respect everyone no matter how different. I've learned who I am as an artist and as a person. And most of all, I've learned that the only person who can tell you no is you. a.c.m.a, you will always be my home away from home, and this is my goodbye to you. I try. Question? Oh, yes.
Dogs for arms or arms for dogs?
Boo.
Thank the Lord. So, okay, there are many ways to answer this question. It depends on what you mean by arms. Like, do you mean like firing arms, or do you mean like actual arms? And then like, so okay, bear with me. This is very important. Okay. So if I have a dog for arms or whatever, like, does that mean that I would have a pet arm, or like, or a dog for arms? All right, next question.
You're gonna come back to visit, right?
Heck yeah. But not you, sorry.
Yeah.
How many sections will know if they're on the top?
Don't take U.S. history, sorry. Honestly, I would just say have fun with it, because it goes by so fast, especially senior year. It's flown by. And I would say don't forget about the lower classmen, because they're very important to the school. I've met a lot of really cool, 7th graders and stuff, like this chick right here. So yeah. All right, any other questions? No? What's up? Yeah, you?
Me?
Yeah, I think.
Oh, sorry. I thought you. Are you gonna continue with your YouTube channel?
Yeah. Wait, which YouTube channel?
The one where you post your coming out story?
Oh yeah, definitely. You, Chris. Ha.
Yeah. What's your YouTube channel?
I think it's Annika Turek. Yeah, if you just look up my name, you'll find it. How long did it take for me to write my poem? Like 5 minutes. I was really angry, so it just kind of blew out, I was really pissed. I hope you liked it. You. Wait, I can't see. Maddie. Hi.
Oh, okay. Hello. First of all, I wanted to ask, you're coming to my capstone, right? Yeah.
If I'm not in Philadelphia.
No, you're coming.
Will you pay for my plane ticket?
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, I wanted to say thank you for at the beginning of the year, you were like my first real friend, and it was my first year here. And I was so scared, and I was talking to everyone I could, even if I was super annoying. I was like, hi, I'm Maddie, but you were the only really person that wanted to know me.
Aww, I'm so glad.
And when I was going through a really hard time, you knew exactly what to say and what to do. And I wanted to say thank you for that, and I'm really going to miss you.
Oh, you're so sweet. Oh, you guys are going to make me cry. Anyone else? You could ask me my favorite color, like literally.
What's your favorite color?
Red,
Ooh, Annika, I got a question.
Oh, yeah, you, Carlos.
What do you look for in a girl?
What do I look for? Okay, I like really feminine girls that are nice and sweet and will give me a shoulder rub and cook me food. And they have to be funny. Like, they have to be able to be a dork with me, because I'm such a dork. Okay. Anyways, I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, thank you.
He is going to. That's not even a question. What is your favorite film you've made in CTV?
I would have to say Dragons, which I was supposed to screen, but I missed a page of my monologue and I just unnamed it, and I totally forgot to screen it.
Annika. Oh, yeah.